First of all, tell me your names, how long you've been married, your alma mater, when you graduated, or when you attended.
Go ahead, babe.
No, you go ahead. I want to see if you're gonna get it right.
I'm not good with dates. So I am Rhonda Stigall. This is my husband, Detric. We both attended Stillman College. I attended Stillman. I did not graduate from Stillman. However, I attended Stillman from freshman through my junior year from 91 to 94. And what was the other question again?
That's it. It's his turn.
Okay.
Detric Stigall, and I attended Stillman from 89 and I graduated in 93. Met Rhonda in 91 when she came. I was already a noob, so she had to really deal with me. So at least I had that out the way. But we were friends, and after that we really enjoyed a dating and a good life together on campus.
Okay, so we'll get to that dating and good life on campus in a minute. So tell me how you met. Let's start with that. Real easy. How did you all meet? The true version.
Well, I'll go first then. When I attended Stillman as a freshman, I became a campus sweetheart. So my friends and I, there were about 9 of us that were freshmen. Of course, we really didn't know a whole lot of, what the culture was on campus. We just wanted to all join the same organization. So we became campus sweethearts, and he, as I said, had already pledged and gone through the process and everything. But we didn't connect immediately. It was maybe at the end of the first semester. He had approached me a couple of times before that, but I was in a long-time relationship. And it just wasn't the right time. So one of his line brothers actually was the one who kind of, put something in my ear, put something in his ear. And at some point, we did come together. And once we did come together and, I kind of got to know him. We went to a couple of parties. He was there and I was there. We would see each other, and we just kind of connected that way.
Some of that is true. I met her actually, and she never tells this side. I was a sophomore, and I was a member of the choir, so we were touring. We went to Shaw High School in Mobile. We had to wait on one young lady to come down to the choir that was not a part of the choir, but she was going to Stillman. That was Rhonda. I saw her that day. I led a solo, and she was shouting all over the floor. Couldn't wait to get to Stillman. And no, she didn't get to shout, but I actually saw her that day and met her that day. She doesn't remember, but she was a high school senior. She probably didn't pay attention to the beautiful eyes that I have that everybody else notices. However, she came to Stillman, and we met again. And like she said, my frat brother, my line brother, sort of put some in my ear too, and put some in hers. And then we sort of, we were actually friends for a couple of years. Like she said, she had a boyfriend, which I thought was funny because my question was, is he on campus? And she said, no, he's in Mobile. I said, oh, that's never gonna work. And I've been made true to this day that never worked. So we just became friends. We were actually very good friends for about 2 years. My story is, about 2 to 3 weeks before I graduated, I came and asked the question, will you be my girlfriend? Check this box, yes or no. And I didn't believe in long distance relationships, but I was getting ready to leave. But this was the one person that I always trusted. And since that day, I've told her I've never had another girlfriend except for her.
And how many years has this been?
We just celebrated December 31st was our 29th anniversary, and we're in our 30th year. So New Year's Eve will be 30 years for us. But we've been together, I guess, about 32 years, you know.
And you look like you're 33 years old. Isn't that something?
Right.
That's something.
And
Nobody,
we have
no,
two
seriously
kids.
though, nobody would believe y'all have been together that long.
Well,
Nobody.
they don't until they know we have a 26-year-old and a 23-year-old. So, and we're empty nesters for the second time.
And then they'll say, how old were you all when you had those children? But yeah, you definitely don't look like you've been married that long. So that's, you know, and you don't sound like it either. So that's good as well. So tell me how you met. You got started. What was your first date like?
Oh, actually, we just talked about this because our first date was at Red Lobster. And we went during lunchtime, of course, because, you know, we were both in school, had no money, but he worked there part-time. And I think we had gone there because of something I had helped him do or something like that. We really weren't dating, but it was the date. It was a date, and it turned out to be a date because we sat exactly like this. And we were the only ones in the restaurant, and I actually still remember what he had on.
And she got sort of, I guess she got antsy when I sat next to her, but I was like, listen, I'm taking you to Red Lobster. You know, I ain't take you to Wendy's or Hardee's, nowhere. This is Red Lobster. And obviously, listen, I worked there, so everybody knew me. And I figured I can get this lunch for free, which it wasn't free. I still paid for it. But I knew she would be impressed with Red Lobster, you know, back then. But we had a great time. And that has been, even to this day, one of our favorite restaurants.
We just went last week.
Know, and you know, the garlic cheese biscuits, I mean, you just can't beat it. So so we had a great time that night, and numerous times after that. Then before you know it, she was coming up there seeing me on my shift, you know, and
getting free biscuits.
Yeah, free biscuits, free shrimp, you know, all of that.
What was he wearing, Rhonda?
He had on this button down, and that was red and white striped, of course, had it tucked all the way in. With some acid wash jeans and some white,
real
white
Jordans.
Yeah, white Jordan. Yeah, that Jade.
Like this boy here.
Now the question is, Detric, do you remember what Rhonda had on?
Well, let me tell you, I do not remember what Rhonda had on the first time, but I'm gonna tell you the first impression that she didn't even know when I was really checking her out. I saw this young lady walking across campus, and her back was to me. Me and my line brother was standing there, and I kept asking. I said, "Man, who is that girl?" And her hair is just bouncing, just like this. I mean, her hair was all the way down here. Listen, I'm talking about beautiful hair. She had to have the prettiest hair I'd ever seen. And then I stayed there until she came back. I think she went to the cafeteria or something. I was standing right in front of her dorm, and when she came back, I just remember not being able to say anything. And my line brother, 5000, you know, he spoke to her, and then I finally said something, but it wasn't much. You know, I just wanted to make the introduction. But I remember at that moment, that was the first time that I laid eyes on her since she was in high school. And I said, I looked at her with the eyes of, oh, I gotta have that. I gotta have that.
Okay
now. and I pursued her, and eventually it.
All right. Well, you know, 30 plus years later, it has definitely worked out. So you alluded to earlier, y'all were together on campus. What was it like dating on campus, and what were some of your favorite hangout spots on campus as a couple?
Stillman is a very small, well, it was very small when we were there. And so most of us would hang out in the square, what we call the square. And the square was, it was an artistic seating area where all the Greeks had a particular square, and that is where whoever the artist was just showed their creativity and, showed off the colors and the sayings and the shields or whatever it was that they wanted to show on their square. So in that area, that's where we would always congregate. We would congregate there, of course, in the dorms, in the lobbies, and in the Hay Center. And the Hay Center was the cafeteria, and it was just a hanging spot inside. The square was outside, and the inside hanging area was the Hay Center. So whenever we would connect, it would mostly probably be on the yard, in the square, or at some type of Kappa event or something like that.
Yeah.
Like that.
And we also had, Les, we had a lot of magnolia trees. So Stillman is known for its beautiful magnolia trees with seating areas all over the campus. So, this was like a magnolia love, if you will. That's what Stillmanites call it.
Okay.
And so we would sit under the trees, and then you find yourself trying to share time with other couples because they come over and say, all right, now it's enough. Next, they're trying to tap you on the shoulder. Y'all been here long enough. It's next. But the campus life was really good. And then I moved off campus my junior year. And so I had a house on the west side of Tuscaloosa. It was only about maybe 5 minutes from the school. So, just between there and here. And Rhonda and I were just really friends at the time.
Just friends.
But
I had a boyfriend.
Right. But I would leave her my key, and all of her friends would come over there and hang out while I'm at Red Lobster. And I come back and find that my house was always clean, and there was just their hanging spot off campus. And so, but between those two spots and just being around Tuscaloosa was known for parks, and Rhonda is a very she wants to be outdoors. And so, we were always outside somewhere.
Okay. Okay. I like that. You were her Stillman boyfriend.
Yeah. And she didn't know would become her husband. She just,
okay. Right. You were the Stillman boyfriend. Yeah. Okay. All right. She still had the boyfriend back at home.
You know it. That's right.
Yeah. Who didn't know she had a Stillman boyfriend? No. He was probably thinking, "Oh, Rhonda." And Detric was like,
"She stopped coming home." He knew.
Right. Stop coming home. So before we jump ahead to where we are now, I do know, because you've told me that I've seen you talk about this. You posted it on Facebook before, how you all came to get married. And I know Rhonda alluded to the fact that she did not finish at Stillman. And so this, of course, is relevant to that story.
So even though I left and we were boyfriend, girlfriends, like I just told you all, but there was a deeper connection. We were still, even though she was still at Stillman, we were seeing each other, if not every weekend, every other weekend, because I was off on the weekend. So it was only 3 hours away. I drive down to see her. But we had decided that we both wanted to get married. Well, actually, let me back up. I had asked Rhonda to marry me a couple of times. And she told me no. And I understood why she said no. So I wasn't really messed up about it because I knew her family. And Rhonda was the prize of the family. They were sending her to college. She had a full scholarship to Spring Hill in Mobile, that she didn't want to go to that school, majoring in education, because she wanted to get away. And she came to Stillman to major in business, even though she had a full scholarship. And fast forward, she ended up teaching, getting her master's in education, getting her undergrad in business accounting. With that said, she had denied me a couple of times, but I knew the story because her family sent her to college to get an education, not to get a boyfriend or a husband. So with that said, little did I know, she was still thinking about those times that I asked her. And she actually came on Christmas break to Memphis, and she stayed the whole Christmas break with me. But we had already arranged for my pastor to marry us. We didn't really share the information with anybody. because I was the type that once you marry me, I'm taking over everything. Your mom doesn't have to pay for anything, no schooling, anything. I'm gonna cover everything. And we ended up getting married over the break, but we had our counseling session. Our pastor gave us a test. If we didn't pass this test, he wasn't going to marry us. We went through everything. And since that time, she still went back to Stillman that next semester because I was encouraging her to finish up at Stillman. You know, you only had one more year.
Uh-huh.
Little did I know she had already done her transfer paperwork to the University of Memphis. I didn't even know it.
For the following.
Right,
I
right.
didn't know it. And they were going to add an extra year. So we were sort of going back and forth. I was like, baby, you could just go and stay down in Stillman, graduate from an HBCU. And she was like, no, I've already done 3 years. I'm coming to Memphis. I cannot be away from you anymore. I'm sick.
He was doing good. He was
I'm
doing
sick.
good.
I'm throwing up. You know, I can't make it. I need to be in your presence every day. And so with that said, she transferred and we've been together ever since.
Okay. Rhonda, you
My version.
Uh,
might have added anything to that though.
Other than that little last part. Yeah, that's true. All for the most part, that is definitely true. I mean, you know, you don't know if when you get married that it's gonna last all this time. All you know is right now I like you. I really, really like you. And so, you know, we, even being in college, you know, we had gone to church together, we had prayed together, we had done, you know, the things that I thought were really important for a long-lasting relationship. So I was like, you know, why should we wait? Why should we, you know, put it off to a later date? What we can really grow at this time, and that's what we did.
Okay. So 2 questions. Well, one is a comment, the other is a question. So I think it's interesting because a lot of times people, usually before we were born, but a lot of times when families sent their daughters to college, it was to get that MRS degree. It wasn't because we're going to get, you know, you got to get a bachelor's degree and then maybe go get a professional degree and then you're going to work. It was the idea that you're going to go to college and get a husband. And so you all looked at it from a different perspective of, no, I came here to get a degree. Not if I get a husband, that's great, but that's not what I came here for. And so that was part of the priority. Now you said that Detric, you said that when Rhonda came for Christmas break, you all got counseling and everything, but you didn't tell anybody. So how did that work out?
Well, we only told my pastor. I wanted my pastor to marry us. I mean, I've been knowing him since I was a little kid, you know, and Rhonda had been to Memphis a couple of times and she'd met him too. But I didn't want to have anyone thinking that we didn't go through the proper steps as it relates to getting married. And I remember him saying this. He said, well, really, marriage is between you and God. And so God, like Rhonda said, God has always been a part of our relationship. You know, not to mention I was a choir director, minister of music, you know, all of these things. And then, so we just meshed spiritually. We meshed and our thought processes on having God in our lives and over our marriage, it matched, you know. And so with that said, to have him, and I'm gonna tell you this, I didn't tell you this part. So we needed a witness. So I had to call my mom because I didn't know you needed a witness to sign until my pastor told me. Now we had candles and everything. We were set up in the church like it was a real wedding, just the 2 of us. So I had to call my mom, who stayed literally 10 minutes down the street. And I said, Mom, I left something. We're having choir rehearsal. Can you come up here? So she comes up there in her her bathrobe, probably. When did a bathrobe or pajamas or something? She had something. And she came, and I said, I need you to come in. She kept calling. I said, no, I need you to come in. I can't leave. She walks in, and to her surprise, we're getting married, you know. So she didn't know what to say, but she signed that paper as our witness. And you know, it was just something that we thought we didn't have to tell everyone. But let me tell you, we did go to Mobile after we shared it with Rhonda's mom and family, and they threw us a reception in Mobile with her pastor at the time, and the whole family. And, Rhonda's granddaddy showed me his rusty gun, talking about, you can take care of her and all of this. And I'll tell you this, I don't think they really appreciated me, and I understand because I had 2 daughters too. They didn't appreciate me until Rhonda graduated that first time.
Okay.
And I threw this huge party, and everybody came. And then a couple of years later, she graduated again with a master's. And from that point, it's like I had been in a family for 30 years. They don't call her. They call me. They'll come in town, want to call her, Detric, what you doing? And want to hang out with me. So it's just been a beautiful story.
Yeah, they knew you were taking care of her and doing what you promised to do.
Yeah.
Nobody was mad. Dad wasn't mad that you didn't call in advance to ask for her hand in marriage or anything like that. It was all okay.
Right.
Okay. So fast forward to now in your relationship with Stillman. Like, do you go to homecoming together and hang out? Did you take the kids with you when you went to homecoming and those types of things? What kind of fun do you all have family-wise as it relates to Stillman?
Well, when the children were younger, we did not take them. We did not. We did not take them probably to homecoming until they were getting ready to go to college.
Okay.
Because that was our time to, just rekindle and think about the things that we enjoyed at Stillman, have just some adult interaction with one another as well as with our friends. And because, we both attended the same school, we both pledged at the same school, a lot of times he will go his way and I will go my way.
To the end of the weekend.
And we would just, just enjoy, just the memories and just being on campus and seeing the teachers and, just reconnecting with people and going to the Stone and, hanging out, with our different organizations and things like that. So once the girls got into maybe middle school, we would go down and just take them with us. It wasn't during homecoming time, but just so they could see the campus, we could take them to and show them some of the places that we would always talk about, Magnolia Trees, the Stone, the Hay Center, where the cafeteria and all of the bookstore, whatever was going on campus that we had discussed with them. And just to let them see, that this is something that you're going to have to decide on really soon. And so not only Stillman, but we took them to several HBCUs, because our thing is not, you don't have to go to Stillman. We would love for you to go to Stillman. We want you to go to college. Right. We want you to get that higher education. And so, but once they got in college, they could come to homecoming. Because we have our own business, Nice Power and Promo. And so that's the way that we give back to the school as well. We promote apparel and promotions, and we sell on campus. And part of the proceeds go to support and help support the school in any way that we can.
And even back then, Leslie, we were always active with the Alumni Association. So we are founders of the Memphis Alumni Chapter. So part of why we would be on campus so much is, I know I would be in a lot of meetings, and Rhonda would be with her groups, always trying to get alumni to participate, because that's just an issue on every campus. You're not going to have a problem with people coming back to homecoming, but you will have a problem with them going to the alumni meeting and meeting with the president and seeing what's actually going on with your alma mater. And you're going to have a problem with them trying to give money back as well, because they just don't give to the level that we could give. But I think we have always been leaders with trying to get that to happen at Stillman, no matter who the president was. The college will always be there, and we need to support it. And we'll be going down next week doing the same thing. We'll be setting up, but we'll be in a lot of meetings. Rhonda will be with her sorors. I'll be with my frat brothers. And we'll always be pushing the envelope on trying to, I know me, I make people feel bad for not giving back. Because I remind them, I know they had a full scholarship to Stillman, and you've been out of school for 30 years and you've not given $30 back. You know, I sort of play on the mental of everyone with that, because I don't know where I'd be without Stillman, especially as it relates to my wife and everything that happened, all of my longtime friends, even being a part of your wedding. Never would have happened, you know, had it not been for Stillman. So I always say Stillman is the reason for everything that has happened great in my life.
All right. I love that. I love that. So that is actually, even I was probably going to ask you some more questions. That's really a perfect way to end an HBCU love story, because it's your story and it talks about your love for Stillman. And hopefully anybody who sees this will have a good understanding of the reason why, as you mentioned, if you had a full ride to your college, or even if you didn't, you need to give back, because our colleges, not only they're very important parts of our community, but they help create who we are today. So if you met your partner there, your children are a result of it, you got your job that you have because of it, it's extremely important that we give back so that other people have that same benefit from it.
Correct.
So yeah, I really thank you all for coming and taking time out of your day to tell me this story. So a few things I hadn't heard before. So now anytime I see a Red Lobster commercial, the two of y'all.
Red Lobster should hire us.
yes, you should. That would actually be a great idea. Put a little commercial together for Red Lobster. Get you free biscuits for life. You know, you have your whole story.
Well, I'm part-time B. She's B.
Okay. So there's probably something you can have there that you can that you can figure out. So we'll go from there. But yeah, thank you again. You all have a great rest of your day, and I'll let you know when I have this posted.
Okay. Thank you. We appreciate it.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.